Hello, everybody, and welcome to another very late delayed episode of my ADHD blog. Because, I'm awesome that way and am kind of lazy. Alright, anyways, so it's been a while. So I remember last time I mentioned that I got a cat, but she wasn't nearby, so couldn't show her to you. But now she happens to be right in my lap right now. So this is my cat, Rarity, who doesn't really want to be on camera. And you can also see I'm kind of wearing her because she sheds a lot, and now she's gone away. My apartment's still a mess, as you can also see. So yeah, I can't remember when was the last time I made a video, but I know I was mentioning that I was going to be starting on Concerta soon, or well, I mentioned I was going to be starting on a medication. I don't know if I decided on one yet, but anyways. So I started on Concerta. And, well, this is pretty much how I ended up. And then all my friends were like, Anyways, so, Concerta is basically like caffeine. Which brings me to my next point. I have successfully given up caffeine. Because I tried it once. I was really, really tired, didn't get a lot of sleep. So I was like, okay, yeah, well, you know what? I don't think Concerta is going to be enough. Let's also have a coffee. This is a terrible idea. I've actually given permission to my coworkers that if I ever say that that I think it's a good idea for me to take up caffeine again, that they're allowed to punch me in the face, essentially, because it was that bad of an idea. But basically, I felt like I was going to explode if I stopped moving. That's how bad it was mixing Concerta with caffeine. It was just, it was nuts. Like I really thought I was going to explode. It was, I'm sure my coworkers were laughing at me. I'm sure I looked absolutely hilarious. Now it has increased my anxiety quite a bit. Not to an unmanageable level, but to a level where I don't want to increase my dosage at this point. I'm at they started me at the lowest dosage, and then they brought me up to the next dosage after that. And I don't want to go higher because I don't want my anxiety to increase more than that. But at this point here, it is helping a little bit. Not as much as I would have hoped, but I'll take what I can get. I'm sure a higher dosage would help my ADHD more, but again, then it would increase my anxiety, and I really don't want that at this point. I don't think I can handle more increased anxiety than what I currently am. And now my doctor has once again mentioned that there are non-stimulants that don't increase anxiety, but I'm still really not comfortable with a lot of the side effects of the non-stimulants. It seems they're not the side effects seem to be a lot worse. So as it is right now, stimulants are increasing my anxiety chemically, but I think non-stimulants would increase the anxious thoughts. So I'd rather go with the chemical anxiety than the actual have a reason to be anxious, So that's my decision for now. I'm going to stick with it. And again, right now, the anxiety isn't unmanageable, so it's not so bad. Now, if it does get to the point where it does become unmanageable, then I might have to consider something else. But as of right now, it's fine. Now, and another thing is that because it's the winter, and of course I started taking it during the winter, and I always tend to get a bit more depressed during winter, which I'm sure isn't helping the anxiety at all either. And that's just basically, I think it's mostly because there's less sunlight. So with the decreased sunlight, well, because apparently sunlight does actually make you happier, vitamin D or something, I don't know. So with the days being shorter in the winter, you don't get as much vitamin D, you get more depressed, which just overall doesn't help things any. Plus you can't go outside as much because it's cold, and because it gets dark sooner. So, I mean, you don't want to be walking around in the dark. And I know me during the summer or during spring and summer, I like to go out and take walks a lot because, like, especially on a nice day. So that's something I can't really do in the winter. So that kind of brings more depression onto it. So, and I think kind of all that sort of builds up. And I think that's causing more anxiety as well. So I'm going to try and wait to see what things are going to be like in the spring. Once all the snow goes away and I can start going outside again and enjoying the summer sun. So and hopefully that will help out as well. I also kind of wanted to mention um, or touch a bit upon things like meditation and spirituality. Now, I realize not everybody is religious, so I'm only going to touch on it very briefly. But I am Christian, so for me, spirituality is very important to me. I find it's one thing that I have struggled with a little bit with ADHD is I have trouble praying and like focusing on my prayers, which I know I've talked to other people with ADHD, whether they're religious or not, they have trouble focusing on things like meditation and that sort of thing. Which is a bit ironic because meditation is recommended for people with ADHD because it does help you focus, but it also requires focus. So it's one of those catch-22 things that sort of you have to make that effort. Um, and I know a lot of my prayers kind of end up being, I am praying for such and such a thing. Please take note of this. All right then, before my mind gets distracted. So, which is, at least I'm making an effort, I think is the important part. And same like with meditation, when I try to like to just meditate normally, like I'll try to focus on something and suddenly my mind is elsewhere. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of something I've been trying to work on a little bit. I'm going on a trip at the end of May, um, which is a religious trip where there's going to be a lot of praying involved. So I'm hoping that that I can kind of get a handle on that before my trip. But as of right now, I have made some progress. Like I said, I have successfully given up caffeine. As far as other things to kind of bring my life more to a healthy point, um, I haven't. I have failed and well, not failed, but I've struggled in other things. I have trouble going to bed at a decent hour. I get distracted really easily, so and lose track of time. So I don't get a lot of sleep, which means that I usually sleep into the last minute in the morning. So I don't get to eat breakfast at home. I always pick up something on the way to work. So I'm not eating as healthy, and my budget's kind of suffering because of that too. So that's kind of the next step I want to try and work on is going to bed at a decent time and so that I can eat breakfast at home, basically, so I don't sleep in as much. So that's going to be my next big step that I'm going to try to take. And so far, that's been a struggle, and I think the Concerta might be not helping very much when it comes to that because, again, it is a stimulant, so it does kind of increase my like my energy levels during the day, so I tend to stay up later at night. I'm not tired at night, so even now, normally, if I do lose track of time, I'll at least have tiredness in the back of my mind. So, I'll be tired, and that'll kind of clue me in of, oh yeah, I suppose I should go to bed. But right now, I'm not tired. Now, once I go to bed, I'm fine. But when I'm doing something, the concern is keeping me focused on that one thing, so I get hyper focused on that. And then next thing I know, it's 2 in the morning. I'm like, oops, I should go to bed now. So that keeps happening. Which is another reason I don't really want to increase the Concerta dosage, because I think if I did, I would never sleep again. Because that seems to be what's happening, is I just can't bring myself to go to sleep because I'm always staying up. There just aren't enough hours in the day. I think that's the problem. I think I need a pause button. I need to kind of pause the world while I sleep, and then I can unpause it and then finish what I was doing. Because wouldn't that work so much better? You know, YouTube, wouldn't it be great if you could pause everything while you sleep? Then that way you don't miss anything. You know, you could keep doing what you're doing. You'd have so many more hours in the day to do things. Wouldn't that be great? Huh? Wouldn't it? Anyways, so that's my wishful thinking, that life had a pause button so that I could put life on pause while I slept. But that's not going to happen. So instead, I need to actually start going to bed at a decent hour. So those are my goals. Go to bed at a decent hour and focus more on prayer/meditation. And there you have it. So hopefully this has been interesting, or at least you've been able to laugh at my rambling. I don't know. So I'll talk to you all later, and hopefully the next video will not take as long. So have a good day.